Okay, we've made it to the final day of the Flab Fighter Challenge. We are on week 4, day 5, also known as Friday, and I've got a treat for you at the end of this video. So I'm starting off pretty simple. 3 eggs cooked in half a tablespoon of butter with the 3 slices Canadian bacon, an ounce of cheese, and that's pretty much a straightforward go-to recipe that works. So, and then I had on the side 170 grams or 3/4 a cup of fat-free Greek yogurt to boost my protein and make sure I'm getting my protein in all my meals. So next we have the dinner, and this is one of those meals where you have random stuff in the fridge and you throw it together and it works, and it's perfectly okay. So 2 tablespoons of butter. I have 1 small white onion, 1 bell pepper, 1 yellow bell pepper and 1 red bell pepper. You can mix and match whatever color bell peppers you want, but just saute those in the butter. And you know, like if you have random veggies in your like a single veggie in your pantry or fridge, just throw it in there. This is a great, like, just dump everything you have at the end of the week. Then add 2 cloves of garlic. I like to use the frozen one that's already been done for me. And it will thaw real quick and just give this a load of flavor of that fresh garlic taste. And then as soon as my veggies are starting to get a little bit of the char on them, we pull them out of the pan and set them aside. So in that same pan though, cook your 2 pounds of ground turkey. I had 85/15 in my pantry. You could use ground beef for this, but whatever you have, put it in there, and the more protein you put in there, the better. So being that I'm making a dish that I don't want it to be runny, I'm just gonna use my little strainer. I'll link that down below to drain out the fat, and then put the veggies back in the same pan that's been drained with the ground turkey. And then we're gonna mix everything all together and season it up. So this is such a quick meal. We had another softball game tonight and we needed to get to the fields early, and this literally took maybe 10 minutes to make. I think I spent more time chopping vegetables. So anyways, I've used a tablespoon of chili powder. You can do whatever spices you want, but I'm keeping it simple. And I'm gonna add garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper to taste. So you can mix and match and do whatever you want, but just season it up to your taste. And don't forget about the fresh black pepper. My kids love this meal. It was super easy. I just gave them a couple of tortilla chips on the side. And then once this is all mixed through and all the seasoning is blended well, we're going to just make the plate. So that's pretty much how easy it is. You can add more veggies at this point, or you can just go as is. So I thought I was grabbing my parsley. It ended up being chives, and that was actually pretty darn good. So my big oops turned out to be a delicious addition. So you can do chives or parsley or cilantro. Then I freshly shredded a 1/4 cup of cheddar cheese from the block on top, and I had 1.5 servings because it was pretty light on the macros, and it fit. Okay, so let's talk about this brownie. Now, there's a secret ingredient to this brownie, but we'll talk about the ingredients in it. So it's somewhat high protein. It is low carb, sugar-free, keto-friendly. You could hit the macros for the entire brownie I'm going to put on the screen below. But the secret ingredient is a can of Coke Zero. So, or you can use Diet Coke, store brand is fine. So anyways, let me show you how I made it. Okay, the first ingredient is, I'm using the Isopure Dutch chocolate protein powder. So I did 14 grams of that, 21 grams of cocoa powder. Make sure it's unsweetened. And then 43 grams of bocha, or your keto-friendly sweetener. This is my favorite one. And next, 1 tablespoon of coconut flour, or a flour of your choice. 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking powder. And I'm just gonna mix this all up before I add in my Coke Zero. And I forgot a pinch of salt. All right, give that a final stir. And now I'm gonna add 120 milliliters of Coke Zero. And meanwhile, I have my oven preheated for 350 degrees and my pan ready to go. Trying to do this with one hand. Now, oop, I gotta zero out my scale. So I'm looking for 120 milliliters. All right, I had a little splash before I started. All right, and now I'm just gonna mix this all up, and then as soon as it thickens up, we're gonna put it in the baking pan. So I'll be back when we're at that point. So I'm just gonna lightly spray my parchment paper so it just makes it easier when it comes out, but there's what it looks like. And I'll pour it in here. Okay, so we're in the pan now, and I'm just gonna add a tablespoon of chocolate chips to the top. All right, if you add more, it's gonna increase your carbs, so just keep it at a tablespoon. It's plenty sweet, it's just, and you can add any other toppings like peanut butter or something like that, but just keep in mind, all of that adds up. So now I'm gonna put this in the oven at 350 degrees. All right, it has been 25 minutes. Sorry, I dropped my knife in there when I was double checking it was cooked through. But the main thing is you're gonna want to wait just let it cool down a little bit before you take it out, because you know you don't have gluten, you don't have all those other ingredients, so it's very delicate. But because I'm in a rush, I have to show you what it looks like. I don't have time for it to cool down, but please let it cool down. Okay, so I took it out of the pan and then I ripped it a little bit, but you can see it looks like a brownie and it tastes like a brownie and it's oh so good. So let me cut into it since this side's already broken. We'll show you what it looks like. Nope, I'm gonna need a spatula. So the macros for this brownie are awesome. You could eat this entire thing. Here, let me pull that apart so you can see. If you want it drier and not so fudgy, you can reduce the amount of Coke Zero, the liquid in it. I like it like this, a little bit on the fudgy side, but that's just up to you. But oh my goodness, does that not look perfect or what? This entire thing, let's put the macros on the screen. Okay, so let's talk about the macros for today. My bullseye was almost perfect, so that makes me happy. I was in range of all my targets. My breakfast is the same one I keep doing, so we're gonna just skip through that. You've seen that 100 times. But when it came to dinner, I had the ground turkey and veggie skillet. This made 6 servings, and I ended up having this made 4 servings, and my kids had something in addition to what they had. So we had a little bit left over, so I had 1.5 servings. So these macros are based on that. So overall, it was a high protein, low carb dinner. And that makes me happy. And you can tweak this really simple by just swapping out your veggies. And yeah, so I did the 2 pounds. I did the 2 pounds of turkey to make sure I got quite a bit of protein in. I was going to be low if I didn't. So that's what happened there. And on top of that plate, I had a 1/4 cup of shredded cheese. And then I had the Coke Zero brownie. And the funny thing is, I was only 2 net carbs over having a brownie. So think about that when you're putting together your meals. I wanted to give you one dessert that wouldn't throw you off. But don't rely on those desserts. Split it, you know, I'll give you the full recap, or I should say my opinion on the challenge coming up on Monday, including the weigh-in. So thanks for watching. I'm Jess, and I'll see you Monday.